Ever since about 1987, I wanted a pink Tama Granstar drum kit, and I really wanted one of those, more or less solely because of a guy called Gary Wallace. Now, Gary Wallace famously played alongside Nick Mason in Pink Floyd. He was the fella bouncing around on percussion, also behind a very large double bass kit as well. But in the mid-80s, he played for a fella called Nick Kershaw, and he was on sort of percussion, stroke drums, and electronics and things in that band. And there was also a drummer called Mark Price. Now, I'm guessing probably sort of 1986, 1987 time. Mark and Gary got a rather big endorsement with Tama, because the TV show where I first saw them, which was an old English show called The Tube, they were on that once doing 2 songs, and they were both sporting pink Tama Granstar kits, albeit Gary Wallace was playing standing up with all his percussion rig and bass drums behind him and octobands and chinas high up in the air, and it was still one of the coolest drumming things I've ever seen. Even 30 years later watching it, I still do watch it, and I still think it's fantastic. I'm not quite sure why pink, or cherry rose as it is actually properly called, but those are the drums that those two guys had, and I thought they were cool. And I've said on Facebook a couple of times I've posted photos of this specific kit, and people have reminded me as well that Joey Kramer from Aerosmith famously played a pink set of Grandstars in the 80s. I think it was on the Permanent Vacation tour, but slightly smaller sizes than this kit, I thought, or some of them anyway. But again, very cool. I think cherry rose, pink, whatever you want to call it, very much a product of the era. Premier were also doing pastel colours, including pink, in some of their sort of certainly the Resonator series, and I think Projectors, or it might have just been the Projector series actually, but certainly a lot of companies were doing the sort of pastel-y light colours in the mid to late 80s. These drums are specifically actually this kit I got about a month ago. I won it on eBay. I saw it just before today's the 23rd of February. I first saw the kit probably a couple of weeks before Christmas, and the starting bid was £500. I wasn't really sure about it. I was probably going to put a bid on, I thought, and then I just didn't in the end. And lo and behold, sort of a few weeks ago, or about a month ago, I was on eBay and just happened to come across it again. And I don't know if it had been started with a low reserve or no reserve at all or whatever, but I won the kit for £410 sterling, which was an absolute bargain, and I am very lucky. But the drums themselves, Tama Granstar is a birch shelled kit. It's 9-ply birch. The wrap, as I said, is technically it's cherry rose, but you know it's pink. The wrap on this kit, this kit's about 30 odd years old. The chap I got it from, he said he had it from new. He toured it, he'd gigged it, and it looks like it's been played, which is fine because I bought it to be played. Some of the drums have got a little bit of a rash on them. I think the bass drums actually possibly got a little bit of fade on it, which I didn't notice until I brought it in here and put it under white lights about a week after I got it. But it's not something that really is overly obvious in normal daylight or yellow light. So, but anyway, it doesn't matter. As I said, I bought the kit to be played, so that is cool. Right, tom sizes, 11, I think possibly 11 by 10. It's the only 11-inch drum I own. It's the only 11-inch drum I've ever played, actually, as well. There's a 12-inch tom just up behind the camera. I've got a 14-inch mounted tom, which I've The 11-inch basically had no mounting bracket on it, and I knew that I was going to put the 14 on a rims mount, so I took the bracket out the 14 and put it on the 11. The 11's actually on one of the Tama Air Ride snare stands, which works surprisingly well, actually. But the 14 is on a rims mount, a rims floor mount, and it's a 16/16 as well. I think it's a 14 by... Not sure, actually. I think it might be a 14/13 or a 14/14. I would have to look it up and see what size that actually is. Apart from the wrap, the shells inside are absolutely superb. The edges are all good. The only mark I could see, there's a couple of surface marks or dirt marks on the inside of the bass drum, but the only thing wrong that I could find when I was cleaning these drums up, in terms of sort of damage to the shell, was one very small little nick on the bottom bearing edge of the 16-inch floor tom. That was it. So I'll try and do a close up of the shells themselves, though, so you can see what they're like. As I said, they're in superb condition. They've aged to a nice sort of honey ambery colour, and they look really nice. As I said, they are a little bit scuffed up in places. That's fine. I don't particularly care. Other than that, I mean, I think the thing that surprised me the most about these drums is that they are heavy. 9-ply shells are, I suppose, by modern contemporary standards, are quite thick. I forget how thick the Star Classic shells are, or the Star actually, but I know they are not 9-ply. The bass drum is particularly heavy, but then again, when I come to, I've picked up the floor tom recently just to move some bits around, and again, been rather reminded that it's quite heavy. So the thing, I guess the thing that contributes to the weight, to some degree anyway, is the very chunky lugs, which obviously you can't quite see. No, it won't lift up fine. You'll see in a minute. The lovely big sort of chunky Arrowhead lugs. They're quite substantial, and there's it's going to add a little bit of weight to the shell. But I think they're cool. I think the defining quality for me, or the defining feature of these drums visually, was the lugs. They're all single arrow-headed lugs. But all in all, anyway, this is the kit. As I said, I'll do a nice close-up so you can sort of, see it. It's a bit of a, I don't know if you call it a polarising colour or not, but, I dig it. It's funky, and I bought the kit to play. I did gig it last weekend. I took the 12 and the 16 toms out and left the 11 and 14 up. But, all in all, it's a nice sounding kit. I've got clear emperors. What's that like? Actually, I've got clear emperors on the 2 floor toms. I've got 2 clear ambassadors on the 11. I think there's a clear emperor on the 12 as well, actually, and clear ambassadors on the bottom of the toms. The bass drum has got a coated Power Stroke 3 on the batter side, and it's got my band logoed. I think it's an ebony Power Stroke 3 on the front. So still playing around with the sound, but I think I would have gone for coated heads on this, on the toms, had I been more readily available. Well, had I been able to get an 11-inch coated ambassador a little bit more readily, I would have gone for coated heads on all, but all I could get really, obviously given that 11-inch isn't something that everyone carries, I went for the coated as the clear because that's what they had. Other than that, I got very lucky. I got an absolute bargain with this kit and all the other stuff that I got with it. But anyway, thank you for watching. Hope that wasn't too dull, but thank you for watching. This is what it looks like up close. This is what it sounds like. Quick sort of soundbite, and I'll see you in the next video.